Good to see some partners here. We're so glad you're with us this morning.
From all over. Great.
Right, all over the region. Thank you so much. Thank you. We've got a really good crowd. It looks like we've got state agencies, we've got planning district commissions. All of our local governments are here. So thank you guys so much for your support. I think we will go ahead and get started, Wendy, and do a little housekeeping about this morning.
Yes, please go forward. Welcome, everybody. It's great to see all our partners and friends and board members. Looking good, and we are just about to start the program. We look forward to everybody participating. Please provide information as you have it or questions. And I think we've got where people are coming on, but we'll go ahead and get started in the interest of time. Welcome, I'm Wendy Austin, Executive Director of FOLAR, Friends of the Lower Appomattox River, I think everybody knows. Welcome to our 7th annual 2025 State of the Trail. Can you believe it? 7 years we've been working on this. Thank you for joining us. We're thrilled to have you here with us as we continue our work to create the 25-mile-long pedestrian bicycle trail along the beautiful Appomattox River Blueway Greenway corridor, a space that's accessible, welcoming, and enriching for all. Thank you for being here. We said, please put your name and organization in the chat as you're coming in. Thank you. Anything else I should say in the introductions here, Heather? Any housekeeping that I've missed?
I would just say, we would love to have you ask questions during the presentation in the chat. And if you want to talk, just raise your hand and Sid or Jackie will let you in. We do have some partners with us on the panel today, but really we would like anyone to participate if they would like. So Jackie and Sid will kind of monitor that and get those to me and Wendy during the presentation. But thank you so much. It is so awesome to see all these names in the chat. So thank you for coming.
And especially our elected officials who have joined us today to learn more about all this work. We do appreciate that because it is, of course, your commitment and support that are the driving forces behind our success. So we're really grateful for your partnership. Okay, then, before we dig into the presentation, I do want to take a minute to thank our sponsors. Next slide, Sid. Thank you. We are really appreciative of these wonderful partners who have helped fund this presentation and gathering through our special all-in sponsorship program, which means all-in supporting and sustaining FOLAR's work on the river, trail, and parks that touches so many lives as we work to improve these natural assets that are free and open to the public, and to teach our next generation about conserving our natural resources and promoting healthy lifestyles and outdoor recreation. Thank you, Plan RVA, for your help in putting this presentation on, Dominion Energy, John Randolph Foundation, Advance 6, American Water Company, and Vistra Energy. We're appreciative also of CSX, Coca-Cola Consolidated Bank of Southside Virginia, and the Appomattox River Soil and Water Conservation District. Thank you. Next slide. And now, special thanks. It's my honor to introduce FOLAR's newly elected chairman of the board, Dr. Christian Volk. He is a senior manager of operations at Virginia American Water. Christian?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this 2025 State of the Trail. And it's really great to see so many passionate partners and community members here today. And I'm very pleased to be here and to be serving as the board chair for 2025. The work of the FOLAR staff and volunteers is more important than ever as we strive to create healthier and more sustainable communities that benefit both people and the environment. By working together, we can ensure safe and accessible pathways for all, while preserving and restoring the natural waterways that sustain our ecosystems and communities. Today, we will provide an update on our initiatives and listen to inspiring voices who are helping drive changes. Our ideas, energy, and commitment are what make the work of FOLAR possible. Thank you for being here, and let's get started.
Thank you so much, Christian. We appreciate your leadership and your passion too. Next slide. Yes, thank you, Sid. And of course, it all would not happen with our amazing team. I'm here with them today. You see them, Heather Barrar, FOLAR's Regional Trails Director, Jackie Very, our Communications and Marketing Manager, and Elise Neuscheller, our Environmental Stewardship Coordinator. You'll hear more in a few minutes about the work that they are doing to improve the Appomattox River Blueway Greenway. Next slide. We also have many of our FOLAR board members here today, along with Christian. They help lead the effort we'll be reporting on, and we are deeply appreciative of their service and commitment. They're listed along the right of the slide. And here in our 25th year, we're very strong in large part due to these great volunteers, leaders, which includes appointed representatives from each of the 6 jurisdictions that we serve. And those jurisdictions you see listed on the left in the map of our service region. So thank you to our board of directors as well. Next slide. A little question for everyone.
Alrighty, everybody. So to kick things off and get everybody a little more engaged, we have a fun question for everybody. So we're interested to know what your favorite spot or location along the Appomattox River Trail is. And I know it's hard to pick just one, but if you can place that answer after maybe a bit of thought in the chat, that would be great. I'd love to compare. I see some coming in. Yep. Heather can't pick naturally. No bias there. Hopewell Riverwalk as pictured. Perfect. Thank you all. No, it's great to see. My personal favorite, I know, is the John J. Radcliffe Conservation Area. You know, if you know, you know. It's a great scenic and beautiful spot to walk and enjoy. Yep, Stuart agrees. Love that. Awesome. Great. Yeah, good deal.
And we have some of those wonderful places pictured behind us.
Yes, indeed. You might see some familiar spots. Awesome. Well, thank you all. This is great, and great to see the wide range of what people are interested in, and that sort of tells us too what you do and the activities that you most enjoy. So thank you so much for your participation. And we will kick back to Wendy to continue.
Sure. And keep those sites coming. Keep your favorite sites coming. We'll tally them up. Well, boy, that list of special places just confirms that we are very fortunate to have a river of such extraordinary beauty connecting us and our communities to each other. We'll go through now some of the very briefly, some of our work from last year and accomplishments before we head into the actual state of the trail, which Heather will present. So let me just start, but with, again, you know, our commitment is to making this welcoming environment along the Appomattox River. A great example of this is our project with Prince George County to improve the entrance to the Appomattox River Regional Park in Prince George. We're very excited about that project, working with them. Heather will give you a little bit more information about that. Also last year, one of our biggest exciting news was that we moved into our amazing new home in Old Town Petersburg, just a block up from the river, giving us limitless opportunities to host more hands-on workshops, events, and to promote the outdoors and outdoor activities. It's a 6,000 square foot space, plenty of room for us and anyone else who would like to hold a convening there, meeting, program where it's available for that. So we're very excited. We've had a great year building and improving that location for our home. Next slide. And of course, the foundation of our work is conservation of our Blueway Greenway. And that demand is great. And we have been very busy. You can see by the list here, the dense list of achieving permanent protection of land, identifying scenic assets and their value along the river, making riparian shoreline improvements, and enabling participatory science. We installed new chronologue sites along the river where you all, anyone, can come and be part of the science of our work to improve the river. So next slide. And we're continuing to make progress in our efforts to support a healthier, more sustainable community that benefits both the people and environment, as Christian said. This year, we've had new and returning activities. New was our first ever Writing the Land Virginia, featuring inspiring poetry and art about the Appomattox River. We also very much enjoyed our first summer intern, Michaela Hamlin, who brought a fresh perspective to our work, inspired us, and taught us. And 2024, we continued our amazing annual events, the 5K and Paddle Battle, where we had hundreds enjoying with us the river, those events, and they're coming up again this year. So more information on that too. And all of this work that we have done through the past year, you're fine, Sid. I'm just going to say the achievements are possible because of the many great volunteers who give their time and energy to this effort, and their work is made possible only through the daily work of our staff, and especially our volunteer coordinator, Elise. Next slide. Elise is going to give you a little bit more information on our statistics.
Hello, good morning, everyone. We've had some amazing volunteer engagement in the last year. FOLAR has hosted 35 volunteer events and 445 volunteers along the trail in 2024. Almost double the engagement we saw the prior year. That is over 100 hours per month donated to care for the Appomattox River Blueway Greenway. We're so happy to help build this community of support for the river. Next slide. One of our upcoming events in May, volunteer trail counts. We really appreciate our volunteers who help us with this project every year. Volunteer trail counts are one of the ways that we collect trail usage data to advocate for the river. Registration is open now through our new volunteer management software. link in the chat to check out our upcoming volunteer events, including this one. And I'll pass it along to Heather to talk more about FOLAR's Trail Counts projects.
Great, thanks,
Slide.
Elise. We can go to the next slide, Sid. So trail counts are just so important for our work and for, like Elise said, advocating our work. And we do trail counts in two different ways. We do the volunteer trail counts, like Elise said, and those trail counts collect the stories, right? We can say, oh, someone was carrying a fishing pole, or they had a bunch of kids in a wagon, right? You can take those stories and see who is actually using the trail. And are they biking or are they walking? But just as important is our traffic counter system. This is an automatic system that was funded by the Crater Health District. And Chesterfield County has the same system on the North Bank. So we have consistent data across the region. And you can see here, these are our 2024 counts. The traffic is really just about the same as last year, which is great. You know, we saw that bump during the pandemic. Everyone did across the world, right? Our trails and parks saw record use, and we had that. And now we're really, you know, kind of holding steady, which is great. And what this data also shows us is the parks and trails that have the most improvements, that have the restrooms and the good parking and the good signage, they get the most use. So that really helps us improve our new parks. And then we have data as we make improvements, like this year you'll hear at Appomattox River Regional Park, we hope we'll see those numbers go up. And once again, just reinforce that that investment is getting more people out in the outdoors. Next slide, Sid. Now, I do want to just pause and say a big thank you to our volunteers and board members who started the traffic counter system. That's Paul and Craig and Mike Golden are all on this slide in a picture, and they helped us install the counters, figure out where they were going to go. And then Paul and Craig went every month for the last 5 years and collected that data, managed the online system. And we really could not have done that without them. So just a huge thank you and applause to Paul and Craig. And then a thank you to the Tri-Cities MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, our transportation agency. You'll hear from them later, but they are coming to us as a partner to continue the counter program. And I know we're going to expand it with them. And we are just really excited about that new partnership. So new data, hopefully next year, and more reporting on that. Before we get to the state of the trail, we're going to hand it back to Jackie for you to give us some more information on the river.
All right, back at it again. This time, we would love to know what your favorite thing or activity is that you do along the Appomattox River. And keep in mind, this can be in the water, this can be beside the water, and it can be anything. I know there's so many ways that we all participate in and enjoy the river and its ecosystem. Daniel's saying he's photographing, makes a lot of sense. Yep.
Yeah, big surprise, Daniel.
Yeah.
Right, you'll see a lot of Daniel's photos in our collection.
Hiking, walking, enjoying in general. Yeah, I was gonna say, just meditating. That's a great activity to do. Just spending time outdoors. Parker says seeing the bald eagles. Yep. Super special around here.
Right, Mark, get out, get the kayak out.
And we're so glad that everybody enjoys it so differently. And it just testifies even more to our ability to continue this work and why it is important so that everybody can enjoy it in these ways. Awesome. Lots of kayakers, which is maybe not surprising. So,
yeah.
Great. Yeah, some snowy trails. Lovely. Okay. Well, great. Keep at it, you guys. Keep enjoying. That's why we do this. And we appreciate your help to make it happen. Thanks for being here today. All right. I'm going to turn it right back over to Heather, and we're going to get Save the Trail going.
Great. Thank you. Thanks again. we invite, I think, over 100 folks to this webinar every year, and we keep a running list. And I always like to see how many new folks we have and how many folks have been with us a long time. This is our 7th State of the Trail. We started it really to bring, at first, just to bring like locality staff together to make sure we're all on the same page. And we used to literally walk through every single section of the trail and really get into detail. And then, pandemic, of course, changed things for us, and we went online and we realized we could invite a lot more partners online than we could in a room. So we're really excited to have this expanded group. Jackie, we sent you a list of who all was invited, so you can see all the different partners who were invited. And then, of course, we're also live streaming on YouTube right now. So all of our members and other stakeholders are definitely here with us today. And we really appreciate this pause in our busy work to say, wow, look what we did last year and look what we're hoping to accomplish next year. And these are the themes we're going to cover. It's kind of, to me, the steps of how we build the trail. We have to plan. We have to conserve the land. Then, of course, we get into that more detailed construction phase. And then overarching all that is the funding of how we get there and how we manage our natural resources. So that's what we're going to cover today. Next slide, Sid. And of course, the foundation to all of this work is the Appomattox River Trail Master Plan. FOLAR took the lead as the backbone organization in 2017 with funding from the Cameron Foundation to create this master plan with the region. And of course, the region's been talking about this since the 70s, honestly. We've had lots of planning efforts over the years. You'll see the importance of the river in all of our planning documents, but this was really the first time we came together, worked with the localities, worked with the citizens, and really have this master plan that shows where the alignment should be in the future of the trail. At the same time, we did a sign master plan. Because again, we have 6 localities the trail is going to pass through, but we want to have a seamless experience as you're going along the trail system. And that's what the signage system is all about, having a seamless feeling for the public. Next slide, Sid. You will see how we're starting to implement that sign system. And it's really fun. When we designed it, we said, well, we need that Appomattox River Trail symbol. That's what's going to carry you through the jurisdictions. But how can we reflect our communities that we're passing through? And so each sign, as it passes through a community, has a new community symbol developed by that community. Has a unique color, has a unique symbol, and you can see the ones here that we've worked on. So we make these symbols as we start working in that new community. Pocahontas Island is a great example where we actually went literally door to door and spoke to all the residents on the island and said, what do you feel about Pocahontas Island and living here? And they said, we are so proud of freedom and our connection to the Underground Railroad. And so we worked with the designer to really try to have that bald eagle, as Parker said. We see them there, and that's a symbol of freedom. So we really are working with the community, and we're so excited to roll out these symbols. So you'll see more of these coming along as the years go and as we get to more spots. So the next slide really lays out how we did the master plan. So the master plan was in these segments, segment A, segment B, going from west to east. And that's how the master plan, if you looked at the master plan document online, I think Jackie's going to put a link in the chat, you'll see the master plan described in these ways. And so this is really how we keep up with progress, is by section, how are we implementing the master plan? And the next slide, you'll see another map, and it's a little hard to see, so we'll send you a link for that. And this is really our funding and development map. And this shows us what has been completed, that's in black. What has been funded but not constructed yet, that's in green. What's partially funded, that's in purple. And then the orange is what we need to get funding for. So that kind of gives you a sense of where we are in the process and how we're working through that with each of the localities. So on the next slide, we really get into that first theme that I talked about, and that was planning, right? So we have a master plan. And that lays out the framework, but we have to do more detailed planning to get to actual trail on the ground or new parks on the ground. So every slide will kind of talk about last year, what we accomplished, and then this coming year, what we hope to accomplish. And so we did complete construction plans at the Appomattox River Regional Park in Prince George, and I'm going to talk about those a little bit later. And then FOLAR is really proud to participate in local and regional plans. So we are working with Prince George on their comprehensive plan update. We are working with Hopewell to help get construction plans for Riverwalk Phase 3. But I have Zachary Mamunai, the new Assistant Director of Transportation and GIS with our Tri-Cities MPO on. And Zach is going to give you a quick update on the Tri-Cities Multimodal Mobility Plan, something that FOLAR is working on. So Zach, I'll hand it to you.
Thank you. Good morning again. I'm Zachary Mumuni. I go by Zach, the new Assistant Director of Transportation for the MPO. We truly appreciate the opportunity to be a partner in the regional overall transportation planning efforts, and we look forward to continuing this collaborative support in the future. The Regional Multimodal Mobility Plan has a good purpose that connects directly to the ART efforts that you guys are making. The focus of the plan is to make the transportation system, more interconnected between bicycle, pedestrians, and other modes, and also identifying a continuous, system that interconnects these population and employment centers, and finally identify, define activity centers and place-making corridors that we want to target ART and other transportation planning efforts. So the direct connection that I see between ART and our multimodal plan is that the ART plays a very, very critical role in the multimodal plan by making, creating a foundational corridor, I will say, that connects communities and promote active transportation and enhance accessibility to key destinations. In addition to that, it will provide a safe, comfortable, and scenic route for pedestrians, cyclists, and micro-mobility users. We know now this is upsurging, and bridging the gap between transit systems and transportation hubs and activity centers. And finally, the trails will support equitable, sustainable, and low-stress transportation options by encouraging healthier lifestyles and reducing reliance on single occupancy vehicles, which is a key priority for a transportation agency. So this is basically what I see as the connection between your efforts and our plan, and hopefully we can continue this synergistic relationship in the future. As far as timelines are concerned, I think we are almost done with the report. We have scheduled it for our policy committee to approve it in April. So be looking forward to the final plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Zach. You did such a great job, really tying all the pieces together, right? This is active transportation, this is recreation, this is health and wellness. And so it really is really great to be part of the plan, and we're happy to see the Riverwalk on the cover. That's great. So thank you so much for giving us all an update. And I know we've had some people on the meeting were part of the public input, and that has just been so important to have local voices during part of that process. So thank you to everyone who's been a part of it. And these are all, these regional plans and local plans are so important for all of us to get involved in and make sure our voice is heard, and that we love the Appomattox River, and we really want to see it protected and more access during this planning process. So that is something that we do, share on social media and our newsletters when there are partner opportunities. We really do share them. So if you have any, please send them to us, and we will make sure we get them to our membership too. Because we know how important planning is to this entire process. So let's go to the next slide and talk a little bit about land conservation. Near and dear to my heart, I love this photo. This is the falls of the Appomattox River. And this last year, there were 42 new acres along the river that are either now in public ownership or protected, which is amazing. Some of those were in Petersburg. Petersburg now owns the 27 acres that are around the historic Harville Dam site, which is just an amazing acquisition. And then we worked with some partners this year to expand some more access and ownership in Chesterfield County and Petersburg. So I'm going to hand it over to some more partners. We're inviting partners this year to participate, which is fun. So I'm going to hand it over to Stuart Connick, the Assistant Director of Construction and Design with Chesterfield County, and Parker Agelasto, the Executive Director of Capital Region Land Conservancy. And they're going to give you a couple updates on those projects.
Yes, wonderful. Good morning, everyone. We were really excited. 2024 ended with two major acquisition milestones for us. On the Appomattox River Park system, that's what we're calling our section of the river on the north side from the base of Brassfield Dam down to Ettrick. In the west, actually we did something on both ends. On the west at our Appomattox River canoe launch, for years, we've been working with just a lease with the Appomattox Water Authority. It's now just year to year, and we were successful, and with their cooperation, we now have a permanent easement on that access point, and not just on the land we own, we added another almost 2 acres to that, which will allow us to develop some nice community recreation, picnicking facilities to serve the boat launch there, small craft, as well as that site serves as our gateway to the Radcliffe Conservation Area. So we're really excited about that, and very much thanks to the Appomattox River Water Authority Board and their Executive Director, Robert Wilson. Then we move and go all the way down the river to Ettrick, to the Greenwood property. And we were able to acquire and put under easement almost 38 acres riverfront as well as islands in the river. This concludes really what was a 20-year effort and conversations with Josh Greenwood, and I know a number of people know him. And so now we will have all of that in public ownership, and not just public ownership, it will be under conservation easements as well. So we're very much excited about that. We're looking to start initial development so we can open that property up to the public for daily use. And this critical acquisition wouldn't have happened without the help and partnership of Capital Regional Land Conservancy. And at that time, I'll turn it over to Parker, and I know he can share the rich history and what we have done and protected and what we can do in the future. Parker?
Thank you, Stuart. And thank you for the partnership and the opportunity that presented itself here along the Appomattox River. And it was our pleasure to work with Josh Greenwood for several years, and with Chesterfield County, FOLAR, as well as our funding partners with the Virginia Outdoors Foundation and the Virginia Land Conservation Foundation to complete the acquisition. This really was pretty much all of Josh's residual lands that he owned along the Appomattox River. And it spanned from Colonial Heights to Chesterfield County to Petersburg. And now all of that is protected under conservation easements and will be perpetually available through the county's work as a public park. And we're really appreciative of that effort. I'm happy to share just momentarily in the backdrop for me. This is an image of the river from 1812 right at this location. And that is a really early history depiction. And it was one of only about 24 images that were in a volume on Picturesque America that was published and distributed worldwide. And when you think about 1812 and how young our nation was, to send over images to Europe to say this is what is quintessential America, and that this is the falls, I think that says a lot about the beauty of the region. And I'm happy that it's being conserved and that more people will be able to enjoy it 200 years later. Thank you so much for our partnership. And I'm handing it back to Heather.
Yeah, thank you, Parker and Stuart. And I would be remiss, there's a lot of logos on this slide. And so we just want to, mention that this is not only a partnership with nonprofits and local government, but we have so many funders and agencies that help make this happen. So this really was an amazing project to work on. Like Stuart said, many years, and it's just really special. Someone asked where this was exactly. This is Campbell's Bridge, and it's on Stuart's slide. Campbell's Bridge in Petersburg that goes over to Chesterfield and VSU. It's that one of those corners. And I kind of think it's exciting to think when you stand on that bridge now, we're going to have 4 corners of public access when you're standing on that bridge. Really just amazing to think of that. So thank you both for helping talk about that. So exciting. What we're hoping for 2025 is to finish the acquisition of property on another one of those corners of the bridge, and that's at Patton Park. There's a couple acres still in private ownership, City of Petersburg. We are working with the governor's office and really making some progress on those parcels and hope we have some good news on those next year. If you want to go to the next slide, Sid, just to wrap up land conservation. We've been tracking, if you remember a couple years ago, we presented on the new GIS tool that FOLAR has created with funding from VEE, Virginia Environmental Endowment. And it's a tool to really track all of our conserved lands along the river. Again, regional context, making sure we all know what we're doing across the region. And we're at 24% of the river corridor protected. So that's looking at 500 feet from the center of the river on either side. That's 910 acres. And we started tracking in 2021 is when we started, and we were at 21% in 2021. So we're seeing an increase. We don't have an official goal of how much it should be, but there have been 30 by 30 is a goal that we hear kind of worldwide, that we should protect 30% of the earth by 2030. So that's, kind of, you think about how other people are thinking of land conservation, we're right on track there to protecting our riverfront. So, it's so important whether you're on the river paddling or you're on the banks looking across the river, such an important resource to protect that viewshed that also protects our wildlife corridor and natural resources. So I think that is wrapping up land conservation, and we'll go on to the part that everyone loves to see, right? And that's the construction piece. That's the part that we're all waiting for, is seeing those improvements coming. So in 2024, if you're familiar with Ferndale Park in Dinwiddie County, we had a pedestrian bridge that was closed due to it did not pass an inspection. And we're so thankful to the local Rotary clubs, and the city of Petersburg came together, put in a new bridge over that canal, and did some ADA improvements at the park. So we're really happy to see some of those improvements. So if you are used to visiting Ferndale Park, it's back open to get to the canal and the way you're used to. So we're really happy for that. And we really are going to work towards continuing that improvement at Ferndale Park and bringing that park up into a new renovated state. Coming in 2025 is the extension of the trail in Colonial Heights. So if you're at Roslyn Park, right now the trail goes to the west. City of Colonial Heights is expanding that trail to the east. And that project is out for bid, and that should be kicking off this year. So I'm sure we'll be announcing a ribbon cutting when that section opens, and just more trail length for you on the North Bank in Colonial Heights. And then, of course, we've talked a little bit about, I'm going to go into some more details on the improvements coming at Appomattox River Regional Park. If you want to go to the next slide, Sid. If you're familiar with this park, it's a beautiful park along the river, but as you drive in, it feels a little funny because you're driving by a jail, and you might not know you're actually going to a park. So we've been talking with partners about making this park more welcoming, more inclusive, just knowing that you're on the right path. As we see, the parks that have the better signage and the better infrastructure have the most use, right? So we're making these improvements to drive more use to this great park. And this has been funded by the American Water Foundation, by the Crater Health District, and by Prince George County. And we, like I mentioned, have construction plans completed. We will be working with a contractor to make these improvements this year. And those improvements include new signage, and there's a picture of a new kiosk. that will be installed with a new map of the park. The other sign is a new mindful walk sign that will be including. So there'll be a new loop on the trail that has these mindful signs that FOLAR developed with Prince George County, and Lamb Center for the Arts gave some great help to us. And so we're really excited to have this first trail experience for park users to go out and maybe refresh and get and slow down and really think about their walk in a different way at the park. We also will be doing a new ADA loop, new benches, new picnic tables. So this little parking area will become a destination unto itself, and it will be totally accessible, which is something we don't have a lot of at our parks right now. And then finally, we'll be doing a reforestation project with the Department of Forestry, as well as installing native learning gardens with Elise and our volunteers. So a small footprint, but we think it's going to have a really big impact on the community. And again, we'll be announcing that project when it kicks off, but that's going to be happening this year. And just thank you to Prince George and our partners. It's really been a great project, and we're excited to see that number of users go up at this park. We really think this will have a big impact. If we go to the next slide, we will talk a little more about funding. So we don't talk about all of our funding, certainly, but we talk about the big ones that are coming through. So this last year, we were excited that the city of Petersburg was selected for the Outdoor Recreation Legacy Project, known as ORLP funding. And this is a nationwide competition, and this would be the third project in the state of Virginia to be selected. So we're so proud of Petersburg for this application. We are still in the due diligence phase, and we'll be awarded that next year. That's $3.4 million going towards Patton Park to make improvements, and that will be the intersection of the Fall Line Trail that we'll talk about next. So we're really excited that City of Petersburg was selected, and we are working towards that award. Really excited about that coming. And then I wanted to mention in 2025, we'll be working with our partners on the other end of the trail in Prince George County, connecting Prince George and Hopewell. We have a great partnership I mentioned in your handout that you got called CARMA. And it is our Central Virginia Military Alliance. And it's a great new organization bringing the military and partners together. We have Fort Gregg Adams in this footprint, and we are all on board working together. Fort Gregg Adams, National Park Service, City of Hopewell, and Prince George County, really seeing how important that trail alignment is to all of us in different ways and how we can make that trail alignment happen. So we will be applying for some special military funding to hopefully move that project forward this year. Next slide. So I mentioned the Fall Line. I think everyone knows about the Fall Line coming from Ashland to Petersburg, or from Petersburg to Ashland, as we say down here. But we are excited that we have VDOT on the call. Scott Fisher, the Richmond District Mega Projects Engineer, is here, and he is going to tell us about the projects down at this end of the 42 miles. That we do have a 10-mile section going to Chester that is out for bid. So Scott, if you want to give us some updates on how that's going and a timeline, we'd love to hear from you.
Sure. Good morning, Heather. Thank you. Yeah, so this section of the Fall Line Trail is, as you said, it's a 10-mile section that runs from Patton Park up to Route 10 in Chesterfield. It ties into the Chester Linear Park. We are currently in active procurement, so I can't talk too much about that, but we have shortlisted 3 design build firms. We've held 2 separate proprietary meetings with all the firms. Those meetings give them a chance to propose their alternative technical concepts to the department to see if we would approve of those. Technical proposals are due March 11th. At that point, we'll go into sequestering and we will review and score their proposals, and that'll be in April. Price proposals are due April 8th. So with that said, we're looking at an award date of May 20th of this year, and the project will have a fixed completion date of October 2028. I know you hear 2028 sounds so far away. I can assure you you snap your fingers and we'll be there. So yeah, we're really excited. We've got 3 excellent firms that have put in for this. So we know we're going to get top quality. I assume everyone on this call knows of the Fall Line Trail, but just to kind of talk about this area where we're tying into the ART, the trailhead is going to be right here in Patton Park and you can look at the little map there on the bottom of the green alignment. So trail users are going to be met with this absolutely stunning single span steel truss bridge going over the Appomattox. We won't have any piers in the water. So I'm really excited to build this, to be honest with you. Which then we will cut right into the woods behind VSU. I should give a shout out to Jane Harris of VSU. She's been a great partner and helping us get this alignment settled. I think you recall we had a lot of back and forth where this alignment would go. So VSU has been very gracious and we'll be hugging the woods there. There's a big bowl essentially that will be hugging the side of that, going around that, but it's going to be a really stunning entrance into the trail. And I agree. The Fall Line Trail starts here. Ashland might say they're the center of the universe and it starts up there, but yeah, we're really excited to get on with this. So yeah, fingers crossed for good bid prices.
Great. Thank you,
Thank you.
Scott. Isn't that exciting that everyone this is happening, fully funded under, going under that bid process. So we are really excited to have that come in. So okay, so I see we have 10 minutes left, and so we're gonna move on and wrap this up on time for everybody. I'm gonna end with natural resource management. So we're building this park and trail system. But we have to take care of our natural resources, right? That's another just such important part. And FOLAR is doing that with invasive plant management removal and also with native plantings. And so just go to the next slide, please, Sid. If you remember last year, we did with Department of Forestry funding an inventory of all the invasive plants on the public land. That's about 620 acres we had inventory to tell us what invasives we have and how to take care of them. If you go to the next slide, Sid, you'll see what we've been doing since that plan is starting to train local government staff and start working with local government staff to figure out how we can tackle this. And so just this last year, or just this last couple months, Elise and I have been out. It's been great. We've been with all the local governments, public works, stormwater crews, school crews, parks and rec crews, anyone who's out on the ground, and also other great partners like Extension and the Riverside Regional Jail and our soil and water districts. We've all been together learning about invasive plants and how to manage them, and then how we can move that plan forward and implement it. We also are working with some great volunteers and implementing little bits and pieces of this plan. So it's really great work, really led by Elise and our volunteer team. And as you know, like as climate change is happening and we need to take care of our forest, and this is one of the ways we can take care of the forest to make sure it's resilient. And then it also gives us all just a better experience to be in the woods when the woods are well managed. So this has been a really great plan. We've had, just like I said, a lot of fun working with all the meeting all the local governments and meeting everyone who's out there doing that work on the day-to-day basis. On the next slide, you'll see that, in addition to removing invasive plants, we know we have to plant back into that riparian buffer. It's just such a critical area for wildlife, for water quality, for our user experience. And so we have been doing these buffer plantings with partners like the James River Association, with our soil and water districts through the VCAP program, and then of course with American Water at our Appomattox River Regional Park coming. So every project we do, we really make sure we have this native component, and make sure we're doing education as well, right? Having people visit and say, oh, I can go home and I can do this at my own house. I can plant these plants. I can manage this at my own lawn is really a big part of what we're doing. And then also, of course, monitoring, right? You can't just plant these new areas and leave. You have to take care of them and monitor them and make sure they're functioning. So that is a big part of what Elise is doing this year, is not only keeping up with the volunteers, but also keeping up with our plants that we're planting. So really looking forward to just continuing that program and getting more folks out to learn and to work together. That is the end of my portion. We would love to have you put some things in the chat if you have any direct questions. I know Keith had one. We'll get together later on that, Keith. Jackie has one more question for you, and then I am going to wrap up with just what's coming up immediately in the next couple months.
All right, so along those lines, speaking of invasive plant species management, I'm not sure if you all were aware, but this week is National Invasive Species Awareness Week. So in the spirit of that, we wanted to know what or which invasive plants are prevalent where you live or where you work. And it'd be nice too if you could name your locality, just so we can get an idea too if that matches up with what we've found in the invasive plant management plan too. So yes, your most prevalent invasive plant species that you've been able to come across, and then your locality area. We'd love if you could put that in the chat. Yeah. Great, I see lots of English ivy already. Elise is saying porcelainberry, coming from Richmond. Ivy as well in Petersburg for Daniel. Yeah. Great. You know, crazily enough, we recently confirmed with our team that the cost of invasive plants annually in Virginia is over $1 billion. So even more pressing that we work together to combat these. And, you know, these plans spread like crazy. So even though it's small steps in these management plans, every bit helps, and every bit that we can work together to make that happen is important. Great. I love seeing all the variety, not necessarily love seeing all the variety. But
love the input. Love the input. Yeah. And I want to say that was B, 1 billion.
1 billion.
In case.
Yeah. Great.
Cost to Virginia alone.
Yeah. Annually too.
Annually.
Yeah, and I think all that we're seeing in the chat too, not surprising that matches up with what Elise has been seeing on the job and in the field. So yeah, we'll continue working together to try and combat them.
Right.
Great.
And not plant them.
Yes, yes, that's part of this Invasive Species Awareness Week too. And that covers not only plants, so aquatic invasive species too. Part of that is just educating and just letting people know. More and more signage is becoming prevalent when it comes to invasive plant species in garden shops. So that's a win, but still much more to be done. So we're getting there. And I think on that note, I will turn it back over to Heather, and we'll finish up with some FOLAR things, upcoming events, and all that. Thank you all for your participation, though.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, so please put anything in the chat. Yeah, next slide. So that's great. Yeah, we just wanted to invite you to our upcoming events and volunteering opportunities. You know, spring is the time, right, for all of us to get back outside together and enjoy nature. We have our 5K coming up at the Appomattox River Regional Park at the end of March. That is, you know, a walk or a run. You don't have to run. A lot of people come out for that. Great way to see the river and see that park. We have our Community Service Awards on May 1st. And then, of course, you can mark your calendars already for the fall and paddle battle to come out and paddle the Appomattox River. And then, of course, Elise has her Stewardship Saturday events coming up every Saturday, once a month coming up. And then, of course, volunteer trail counts. We've got a lot of partners that come out and help us do volunteer trail counts. So we would appreciate you taking a look at that. And like as Elise said, registration is open for that already. One more
And
thing
if-
I want.
Oops, sorry, I just want to interject that again, all of these events happen only through our partnerships with our communities and our regional partners and our sponsors. So thank you again to all of you.
And if you're interested in joining, feel free to send me any questions you might have about those events.
The next slide, Sid. Just quickly, always want to make sure people know that we do have this online map on the website. You can see here, you know, how to access it. It's called Trail Map. We have paper maps too, but this online map you can use, you know, when you're out in the field, it actually will geolocate and show you where you are. So it's just a great resource. This is done, of course, in partnership with the localities. But as you can see, it tells you what's at each park. It shows you the rapids. So if you're paddling, it's a great resource for paddling. And it shows you where the trail is. Next slide, Sid. As Wendy said, we couldn't do it without our partners. And then let's just end on the very last slide. Again, reminding everyone that we want you to save the date for our Community Service Awards coming up at the Appomattox River Center in Petersburg on May 1st. So please mark your calendars for that. Registration will be opening soon. We appreciate you all so much. I mean, this is just so heartening to see so many people joining us this morning. We love gathering this information from the region and sending it back out to each of you. So we hope that you find this worthwhile. We would love for you to tell us if you want anything different for this meeting. We're always learning and growing. But thank you to our partners who came on today. We really appreciate you sharing your voices and your direct experience.
Right. Thank you, everyone, so much for being here. And I really want to thank Heather, too, for all her work. This State of the Trail really was her brainchild after our first year putting the master plan together and then getting the segments together. She realized we really have to pull everyone in and make each other aware of where we are along the way, along our progress. As you see here, we are a small team, but we have many multitudes of supporters and partners, and we need every single one. We very much appreciate, as we have said all along, and we all know the rivers are our lifeblood, and riparian land is probably one of the most important lands on Earth. So we want to keep working together to make the Appomattox River Corridor a beautiful and welcoming place for everyone. Thank you. And I think, again, we have a second or two if you have any questions, burning questions. Otherwise, we're happy to follow up with everyone with, as Heather said, any ideas.
Yeah, I do have a question coming from the YouTube live stream chat for you, Heather. And this one is just clarifying the Fall Line Trail. They were talking about that single span trail bridge that goes over the river. They were asking about the location of that, like where that will be in relation to the Campbell's Bridge.
Scott, would you like to take that?
Sure. Yeah, it's just downstream from the Campbell's Bridge. Maybe, dare I say 200 feet?
Great.
Meaning east of the bridge, in case.
Correct. Yep, downstream.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you.
Seems like that's it, huh?
All the
Yeah.
kind words in the chat, folks.
Yeah, lots of kind words, YouTube live stream. Yep. Everybody's excited and everybody is learning a lot. That's the big takeaway I'm seeing.
Question in the chat from Daniel.
Yeah, so it looks like Daniel is asking, is there any plans for a cafe on the north side of Campbell's Bridge in that new parcel?
Stuart, are you going to build a cafe?
Yeah.
Don't know that's in the immediate plans. We just want to get public access, but that's a great idea. Certainly it's a critical piece of property, not just for its historical value, but as everybody's seen, it's the nexus on the north side for Chesterfield, and then the beginning of the Fall Line Trail. So endless possibilities to use that property for the benefit of everybody.
Right. Or you can stop at a local coffee shop and get your coffee on the way.
And we'll give you a picnic table to drink it on.
That's great. Yes. Benches, scenic views, and enjoy your coffee.
Great. Great.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Sent the link for our events webpage, so definitely be sure to check that out. And again, save the date for the community service boards on May 1st.
Right.
Thank
Thanks,
you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, panelists.
Certainly.
Yes, thank you
My
guys.
pleasure.
Have a great day.
Good day, all.
All right. Thank you.